Okay, hello testing. How are we doing? Let's see. I need to try and figure out what like the good middle ground is for getting everything up to like. So I don't know what happened. I've had to remix my microphone. I don't know why, but everything is like it's gone kaput with it, and I genuinely don't know why. It means I have to constantly like change the volume and stuff. It's really weird. Anyway, hopefully it sounds okay. Hello, how are we doing? Everyone is doing okay. Just hello. And yeah, welcome in. Firstly, happy 2025. Hey Boogie, welcome in as well. Happy 2025. Hell yeah. Hope everyone's had a good New Year. Hope everyone's had a good Christmas. I hope it's been lovely. And yeah, we're back. We're back. I'm still not quite back into the swing of things, so if I sound a little bit like, I don't know, if I sound like I'm mentally preparing, or like just a bit drained, it's because I'm still recovering. But yeah, it's all good. It's all good. We'll be back to it. We'll be back to it in no time for sure. Jessica, welcome in. How you doing, buddy? I can't believe it's not 2020 anymore. I know, right? Honestly, I've been wishing for the last 5 years that it's just been 2020. I've been yearning for it. You know what I mean? I've just been like, you know what? I lost a couple of years. I'm gonna pretend that I'm still in 2020. I'm gonna live in ignorant bliss. Let's go with that. December might have been my most successful month career-wise. Hell yeah. You had a double gig on New Year's Eve. Let's go. That's amazing. Hell yeah. Did they pay good as well? Because it's New Year's. I don't know how that sort of thing goes. One matinee, one actual New Year's Eve. Let's go. Hell yeah. Listen, I mean, the money's good. At least you're coming into the new year, hopefully with like some, you know, a safe back burner sum to be sitting on, right? I think that's always the scare as well. Is like at the end of New Year's and everything, some people are often like, "Oh crap, I'm out of money. I'm now gonna wait till like the end of January before I can do anything again." So you know, at least you're sitting on a sum. That's the main thing, right? Hell yeah, well, I'm glad to hear. I'm glad to hear, and I hope everyone has a lovely start to 2025 as well. Um, yeah, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. I'm looking forward to being about in 2025 and doing some streaming. Um, but before we get into a few things that have changed, firstly, I'd like to say that thank you so much for everybody that filled out a poll, or a form, I should say, for things they'd like to see changed and various things they'd like to see implemented. I will, throughout January, I'm probably going to be dabbling with a few things in terms of channel point redemption ideas, and I'll very happily back and forth a few things. Yeah, January is going to be sort of a me finding my footing with the changes I wish to implement and how I'm going to go about doing that. Basically, while we finish up Mother 3 and Baldur's Gate 3. So that's sort of my idea for going into January. I hope everyone's okay with that. Baldur's Gate is going to take at least another like 50 hours. I need to also hit people with that realization of we're still only just starting Act 3, and Act 3 is huge. So Baldur's Gate is going to be around for a while yet. Mother 3 maybe not so much. We're in the last chapter of that, and I think we're a good way through that final chapter as well. So I'm feeling pretty good about finishing that one by the end of January. Baldur's Gate, I don't know. We're going to have to wait and see. It's going to be a long time coming. But anyway, before we get into 2025, I have made a little PowerPoint for 2025 to explain some little bits and get into it. But what I will do first is I will bring on our annual tradition. For people who have been around for the last year or maybe years, you'll know that we have a little tradition. We have this, the tier list. We have the tier list. We have everything we've played. Or everything, I should clarify, everything here isn't everything we've played on stream, but everything here is everything we've completed or we've done like most of a playthrough of. So Baldur's Gate and Mother 3 are here purely because we've played most of it throughout 2024. They will reappear again in the 2025 recap. Also, to fully just be transparent, Disco Elysium is here for the same reason. We finished Disco Elysium like January, February 2025. 2024. So I'm gonna keep doing that a lot. By the way, I'm gonna keep getting my years modeled up for like the first month of the year. So bear with me. But yeah, Disco Elysium is here for that reason as well. I can see the gas car. This is Madagascar. The gas car is here. It's all good. We love it. We love to see it. Right. Well, if everybody is ready, I'm going to begin. I'm going to start off strong. I guess like I should also say there is kind of a number system in mind when I've like thought this through. But Game of the Year usually for me is a game that I'd consider to be like a 9 out of 10 or above. Everything else, I guess you can sort of work your way down and figure out where I'd put it, like, numerically, but generally Game of the Year I'd consider quite high up. I don't really give games 10 out of 10 either, because I feel like no game is, like, 100% flawless. Which might sound a bit pretentious, but I feel like I'd prefer doing it that way. Also, I should also reiterate, anything that gets above a 5 out of 10 means... wait till you play the 50 Cent game. My bad, you're right, actually. That will be a 10 out of 10. That is true. That is true. But no, what I was going to say was, anything above a 5 out of 10 for me, I consider it good. Or it's on the right side of me enjoying it. Or like, I should probably say a 5.5 out of 10. But, yeah, so for me, like, 50 or 5 out of 10 is like middle of the road, where I didn't love it, but I didn't hate it. And yeah, we'll sort of just work from there. I guess like I'll just tell you the numeric value. So great is probably like an 8, good is a 7, decent is a 6, meh is a 5, oh no is probably a 4 or a 3, and Elf the Movie the Game is a 1 or a 2, or a 2 or a 1. So we'll get to Elf the Movie the Game. It's quite far down the list, but we'll get there. And then, like I said, everything here are games that we actually completed. So there were a lot of things we played in Halloween that aren't listed here. I'd be very happy to do a separate tier list for that another time if people want me to. But I feel like we should just stick to the ones I actually finished, because I feel like they're the things I can judge better. As opposed to like a Halloween game that we might have spent like 10 minutes playing, you know what I mean? So yeah. I think that's it. That's enough preamble. I think I'm just going to get into it. So, Disco Elysium, I think I covered most of my thoughts on this last year, but I'll happily go over it again very briefly. This game, definitely Game of the Year. Definitely fits into Game of the Year category for me. This game was a triumph in terms of introducing me to like a way of doing like, I guess, what's the best way of saying it? Like, Baldur's Gate style gameplay, but without combat per se, and more using your brains and your skills and everything else. It was like D&D, but detective D&D, and that really, really tickles like the Dave funny bone in a good way. But yeah, it's good. It's good. So yeah, I'll just leave it at that. I'll leave it at that. Wallace and Gromit. J Boogie's laughing in chat about Wallace and Gromit. Obviously, Wallace and Gromit goes. No, Wallace and Gromit go like. Oh god. Okay, where do I put this? Where do I put Wallace and Gromit? Oh, speaking of, by the way, I will probably go over this in more detail at some point later on in the month, maybe even next stream. The Wallace and Gromit film, very fucking good. If you haven't had a chance to watch it yet, or you can't watch it yet, as soon as you have access to it, please go watch it. It's very good. I loved it. I loved it. I thought the guy that did Wallace's voice was also solid. I really liked it. But yeah. But no, Wallace and Gromit. I really have to think about this game because I actually think it fits kind of into decent, where I think for what it is, I think that Wallace and Gromit works best in like a point and click kind of style. If you think of games like it, like games in the same kind of genre, I could kind of see Wallace and Gromit falling into that weirdly. I don't know if that's just because it's like, is it the Neverhood? Is that the name of the claymation point and click game that's like it? I don't know if that's because I can firmly see that already in the genre, and that's kind of why I'm warming to Wallace and Gromit being there. But I don't know, I kind of don't hate this one. I think it gets a decent at the very least, but I should also say that the closer to this thing here, to the bar, is sort of like, you know what, I'll get a few more things down first and I'll start to explain myself. I will be ordering these as well in their respected rows, is kind of what I'm getting at. So this might be moving further down the decent lineup, as you know, the further we get through the tier list. But yeah. But yeah, I should also say, is everything like clear in terms of how I'm going about this? Is there anything that people want me to explain? I'd be happy to go over everything. I just don't want it to be hyper confusing, that's all. I don't think it's that confusing. I just wanted to make sure everyone's on the same page. Yeah. I'm gonna have a quick drink quickly. The one thing about doing tier list streams, I really like doing it, but my voice gets so like tired. I'm already starting to feel strain, and that's a bad sign. So I should have done more vocal warm-ups. I should have done more. Okay, well, next up is a game that I'd already played before. So I feel kind of guilty. That being said, there are a few games on here that I have technically played before. But next up is Portal. Portal is great. I feel bad because throughout my entire playthrough of this, I basically just kept saying I like Portal 2 more, but Portal's good too. But yeah, I still think it's great. I think Valve did a great job with it. It's you know, a very staple part of the orange box. You know, without it, we probably wouldn't have got, you know, anything close to some of the other things that Valve started to play with tech-wise. And yeah, it's a really cool game. I really like it. And you know, it's, for me, again, it's I hate to sort of say it, but Portal 2 just improved on it, and it became one of my favorite games because of that. It's great. A game that I hadn't played this year before ever though, was Journey, and I need to admit I was a bit of a hater with Journey. I didn't really see the appeal, but that was purely because I'd watched people play it. I do feel like it is a game where once you're sort of in the driving seat, you kind of get it a little bit more. I thought it was great. I thought it was really immersive. I love the visual style of it. I love how it uses like storytelling techniques that are very stripped back, I guess is the best way of putting it, where you're not relying on like a strict narrative that's being told to you. You're sort of having to take visual cues from what's going on in the world around you. And I don't know, even just like the very stripped back raw element of trying to play it multiplayer through no voice chat, no text chat or anything like that was really cool. And I very vividly have that memory now, that core memory of being like, oh damn, like these people are also playing the game at the same time, and they're showing me like secrets, and we were experiencing it together, but we don't, you know, there was no pretense of, oh, we organized this, or we were speaking in a text chat. It was just a very like stripped back. I feel like I'm slipping over my words, but it was really cool. It was a really cool time. So yeah, I think Portal 1 is still a bit better than Journey, but I definitely enjoyed it. And like I was saying, with the way I'm gonna rank these, closer to great means like higher up on the scale, and further away means lower down. But Both of these very high up anyway. It was the best of times. It was the blast of times. Very true. The blast of times indeed. Okay. Speaking of the blast of times, no, I'm joking. I wanted to see what the reaction would be. No, Donkey Kong Country isn't, oh no. It isn't a meh. I'd even say it's above decent. I think it's a good game. It'd been some time since I'd, like, tackled this one, or even, like, remotely played any of these games. I definitely didn't love it, but I definitely did see the charm, and I feel like it does hold up quite well. To the point where I can kind of see why things like Tropic Freeze, I think that's the one that they've just re-released again for the Switch, is still sort of getting, like, I guess, like, some level of notoriety or popularity. Like, these games are fun. Nintendo did a very good job. Actually, no, it wasn't even Nintendo, was it? It was Rare that made this one. But yeah, I don't know, like, I feel like this one's a bit of a classic. Visually, you might argue that it's not quite held up quite as well, but back then, that kind of visual style was really cool. Kojima himself, that's right, Kojima himself, Rare Kojima, made this one. But yeah, I don't know, I think it was a really good platformer. I think it was really, really solid for what it was. It was the right kind of difficulty at times. We did use save states, but I'm gonna be real with everybody as well. I'm not really about the challenge of a game necessarily. I think if it's a puzzle game, then that's fair enough. You know, the main mechanics behind it are like, it being like a puzzle, I don't know, like a puzzle-based game. Therefore, the main thing you should be concentrating is like actually trying to beat it from like a technological, that I don't know, like a theory standpoint. If it's a narrative game, I might start playing some narrative games on easy mode, purely because I cannot be fucked. And I'm purely there for the story. But at the same time, I feel like for some things that really takes away from it. So I think I will sort of pick my poison when it comes to what games I start tackling that mentality with. The reason why I'm saying this with Donkey Kong Country is, after a while we did start to use save states a lot. And I'd like to still try and do games as legit as I can on stream, but I will sometimes reach out for like a crutch of some sort, right? And I think this was a really good eye-opener for me, where it's like, well, I don't mind doing it occasionally, but I shouldn't rely on it. I feel like it's more rewarding to try and see a game out, like, properly. And yeah, I don't know, I feel like that was a good time where I think I found a good balance with that early in, and I think I'm going to try and keep that same kind of, like, precedent going forward with platformers as well. But yeah, I'm in the same boat, honestly, with some games. Yeah, I'm glad it's not just me, J-Boogie, because yeah, it really is, it can turn into a big game of, like, I don't know, like, I don't want to blame the age of some of the games. I just feel like controls since some of the earlier platformers have become a bit more tight. But also it might just be a case of I'm not quite as used to, like, the way it might handle compared to something that's a bit more modern. Some of it is just skill issue. I'm fully willing to admit that I'm partly at the fault, right? But I think sometimes I'm very happy to reach out for a little bit of assistance if I need it. But again, I don't want it to be like a relied, like, precedent, I guess, going forward with some of these things. But yeah, it will vary game to game. Like I said, I think platformers are probably the best example of where I might reach out for it the most. Everything else I think should be pretty good. Also, I guess platformers and older games, I guess, are the two, because most modern games will have, like, autosave or, like, ways to do quick saves, you know what I mean? So I feel like it really is games of this kind of era, like the SNES, N64 era, where I need to worry about that the most, and everything before it too. But yeah, I don't know. I just wanted to try and justify it a bit. I don't think it's really that big an issue, but I feel like it might be worth talking about. But yeah. Alright, well, Baldur's Gate 3, I just need to be very real with everybody. This game is dog shit. No, this game is, I don't know how many times they're going to be able to do that. I don't think it's that funny. In my head, I'm like, oh, this is funny as fuck. We're just going to put Baldur's Gate and Elf the movie, the game, and see if we can rage bait people quickly. I don't think it's working. But nah, so Baldur's Gate, I need to just quickly say, I don't think I gush enough about this game. I think I do it a lot on stream anyway, but I try and hold back a lot because I adore this game. This is definitely in my like top favorite games of all time. Easily. I love D&D, I love fantasy stuff, so this tickles every single like I was about to say nook and cranny, but that sounds really dirty. There's something about it that just really resonates with me as a game, and I really, really love it to the point where I'm like, hell yeah, I'm inspired to like get into D&D again. And it's, I don't know, it's a world that I can really vibe with, and the mechanics are really good, the characters are amazing. I have some news about Baldur's Gate. I recently acquired an SSD to put some games onto, because all of my games were running off a hard drive before. But now for certain games like Marvel Rivals and Baldur's Gate 3, they'll be on my SSD. So we might be getting some less lag problems with Baldur's Gate going forward, but I'll have to wait and see if that's actually a thing that's been resolved. I don't think we were getting too bad a lag spike or anything anyway, but it's just something worth thinking about. But yeah, Baldur's Gate, we're not done with it yet. I feel like it's kind of unfair to fully talk about it yet. Act 1 and 2 have been so good that I can't help but feel like it's going to be up there again next year. Much like Disco Elysium. Sorry, give me a sec. But quick memory fetching and utilization. Satisfactory. Is this a reference? Have I beefed it? I feel like I've beefed something. An SSD for Kojima games, that's right. I've saved it all for Kojima. I love that the Kojima thing has stuck so much. I love that that's like the biggest ongoing meme. I feel like there's not a single stream that goes by now where we don't mention Hideo Kojima every single time. He also made this game. Did you guys know that? He made Baldur's Gate 3 with his bare hands. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. The man is insane. The man is insane. But no, I love it. I love it. And I love playing Ricky Ricochet as well. It's fun. Okay, what is this? I need to quickly... Okay, we've just been blessed by this. This is a meme that Jessica just shared with us. $5 footlong. Sandwiches at a cheap price? Satisfactory. I see. It's a SpongeBob meme. I see. How old is this meme? How old? I'm curious. What is the age of the? That's not the screen I wanted to go to. Thank you. What is the age of this meme? How long has it had to ripen? It's a fresh meme for me. It's a fresh meme for me. COVID time meme. Okay, wow, it's like 4 years old. The more you know. More you know. I honestly, I guarantee I've seen it a few times, but Dave Brain in it. But it's my get out of jail clause. It's either I bring up my dyslexia or I say Dave Brain. I feel like they're my two get out of jail free cards half the time. I can't keep using them. They're my IRL crutches. But nah. I haven't seen that before. I don't know why. I feel like I don't know. I've seen a lot of SpongeBob memes though. I feel like a lot of them go around. But yeah. Well, our next game is a game that I guess we didn't technically complete, but I feel like we played a good chunk of it to the point where I felt like I don't need to go back to it. We did 2 streams of it, so I feel like that's probably fine. It's Goat Simulator, and I know what people might think about this game. I feel like this game is like the definition of YouTuber bait, where it's a game that can very easily make its own content to the point where it's so stupid it is very entertaining to watch. I feel like a lot of gamers kind of fall into this category and have done over the years in general. That being said, I do think it's a decent game. I love that it pokes fun at itself. I love that it's kind of like intentionally a bit buggy and weird in places. And you can tell that, like, I don't know, you can tell that they cared about the game when they made it, right? I don't think they realized how big a success it was going to be, but they definitely did care about it when it happened. Also, Satisfactory, speaking of Satisfactory in chat, Justkill, made by the same devs as Goat Simulator. The game Satisfactory, which is basically first-person Factorio, made by the devs of Goat Simulator, which is absolutely insane to me. I think it's Coffee Stain Studios, at least. That sounds right. But yeah, it's actually a decent game. It's a good laugh. I wouldn't say it's like the best thing I've ever played. It's not life-changing. It is funny for a bit, but I probably would be bored of it after a couple of hours. But it's good. I enjoy it. It's a good time. And yeah, speaking of a good time, we're going on to a very short game that we played earlier in the year called Sheepy: A Short Adventure. I believe. Let me double check. I had a feeling. So my friend Ben. Oh, wrong trailer. My friend Ben suggested this a while back. I think at the beginning of the year, hence why we played it. It's developed and published by Mr. Suicide Sheep, but I believe, is Mr. Suicide Sheep also a musician? I have a feeling they might be, but it's a game that's developed by them and the music is made by them, and it's like a full-on like effort by this one dude, or at least as far as I know, it's one dude. It might be a few people, but I believe he's like published it at the very least. But I actually thought it was pretty good. Pretty good. I'd love to see a whole game made by this like dev team, or this one guy, or this, I don't know. I'd love to see more of it. I wouldn't say it's any more than good because it was quite short to the point where I was like I would have liked to have seen more before I gave it a higher score. But yeah, I thought it was good. I thought it was good. Maybe not Donkey Kong level good, but it was still good. Now we're sort of soaring above good now, all the way down to Elf the Movie the Game, which is where Tears of the Kingdom will remain, and we will not talk about it any more than that. Right, we're gonna move on to Amazing Frog. Amazing Frog is I'm just joking, by the way. So Tears of the Kingdom is phenomenal. Did I say Crazy Frog? Oh no, I did say Amazing Frog. Okay. Sorry, Crazy Frog is this year, potentially, Justkill. If it gets picked, Crazy Frog Racer might happen this year. In my head, I was like, did I say Crazy Frog? But no, so, Zelda. We played 52... Sorry, we did 52 streams of this game. 52 whole streams of Zelda. And it's going in Game of the Year. I don't think I liked it as much as Baldur's Gate, but I feel like for me that is a very, very hard bar to hit. At the same time though, this game is phenomenal. I did genuinely really like Breath of the Wild when I played it. But I definitely had a bit of a yearning for more story when I played it. I think this is my biggest ongoing criticism of Breath of the Wild. Even while we were playing Tears of the Kingdom, I kept commenting on, why wasn't there more of this in Breath of the Wild? Or I wish that this game had, or I wish that there were these mechanics in Breath of the Wild or something like that. I really liked it. I really, really liked this game. We had like 100 and something hours in it in total. I loved it. I genuinely loved every single minute of Tears of the Kingdom. Apart from maybe that final like 15-hour, maybe less than that, maybe like 6 to 10 hour segment where we had to go around and do a bunch of random shit before we actually got to the end boss. I think that's my only criticism of this game, is it didn't know. I feel like it had a perfect point to wrap up and it didn't take it, and it kind of just dragged on a bit. But I really enjoyed the story. I really liked the world building they did in Hyrule this time round, and I really enjoyed the puzzles. I enjoyed making really stupid contraptions, like that one wheelchair that we made for the Korok that then sort of flew off into the river and we nearly drowned the Korok. Or there were several occasions where I just attached like a bit of stone to a rocket and prayed that it would take me to where I needed to. Like the building mechanic, the building function in that game was so fun to use. I genuinely love it. And yeah, it's there's a lot to take away from that game that's making me think it might even be my favorite Zelda, just in general. I do constantly have a battle in my mind of, do I like Wind Waker more? But I think for the time being, I'm happy to admit that Tears of the Kingdom is my favorite Zelda game to date. The Wind Waker is probably my very close second, and then maybe Breath of the Wild is third. I don't know. But yeah, overall I loved it. I genuinely adored that game, and I'm very glad that I was able to play it through on stream and have everybody here to sort of check it out and hang out with me while I played it. I need to just, it's soppy as fuck, I know, but I need to reiterate how, I just butchered the word reiterate, by the way. Reiterate. I turned into Jonathan Ross for a second. But I need to reiterate how lovely it is to like experience these things with people, which is something we're going to get into a little bit later on. But no, I genuinely love doing this, and it's such a lovely hobby to have, and the fact that people keep coming back, and you know, almost on a daily basis as well, which is, it's so, thank you so much for like dedicating a chunk of your evenings or whatever to be here and yeah, hang out. It's really nice, it's really lovely. But yeah, it's definitely one of my favorite playthroughs. That and Baldur's Gate are definitely up there as like some of my favorites. Even Disco Elysium, like, yeah, the games in Game of the Year are almost up there for more than just the game itself sometimes as well. But yeah, it's great. It's so good. I think it would be your favorite. Wind Waker is also up there for you. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. I feel like there are a few that I'm not very well versed with. J-Boogie, funnily enough, we were talking about this off stream, I seem to remember. And I haven't played things like Minish Cap before. I feel like a lot of the handheld Zelda games I might have missed out on. So I feel like that might be a bit of an untapped Zelda market if people wanted to ever see me stream it. I'll be down to sort of entertain the idea of it. But yeah, I just haven't really played many of the handheld Zeldas. It really has just been like the console ones that I've played, and then like Phantom Hourglass I played a bit of Spirit Tracks. I played I played like most of Link Between Worlds on the 3DS, but that's kind of it for me, I think, handheld wise. But yeah. Anyway, long story short, Tears of the Kingdom, amazing game. I absolutely loved it, and I think for now it's my favourite Zelda. Yeah, I don't know. Really good story, really good characters, very satisfying end in my opinion as well. Again, the only thing that's stopping it from being like above Baldur's Gate for me is probably the just massive window of still pissing about at the end that I just didn't think needed to be in the game. But yeah. Minish is a solid one for sure. Probably your favorite handheld one. Hell yeah, I've heard very good things about Minish Cap. That's the one with like the bird hat, isn't it? Right? It's got like the little bird. The hat's got Link's hat. Basically has a beak. It's like Mario Mario Odyssey before Mario's hat gained sentience. Link did it first. Actually, A Link Between Worlds might be your favorite handheld. I really liked A Link Between Worlds. For anyone that doesn't know, I think A Link Between Worlds is a... Is it a remake or like an alt universe version of A Link to the Past? I can't remember. J-Boogie, you might need to help me out there, but it's it's very similar to A Link to the Past, but with a few extra story elements. It might even be just a remake of A Link to the Past, and I'm getting that completely wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's different to A Link to the Past in a few ways, more than just mechanically. Ranger, welcome in. If I don't see Dead Rising in Game of the Year, I riot. I agreed. Oh my god, no. The pressure, I can't. Right, well I'm gonna buy for time before I get kicked down by everybody and told that I'm wrong. But yeah, Ranger, I hope you're doing well, buddy. I hope everything's going okay. I'm gonna pad and say that Amazing Frog was meh. Did you guys know we played this game on the leap day and I had no idea? I can't remember if I've said this already on stream, but I unintentionally lined up Amazing Frog as a filler game, and it turned out to be Leap Day. Isn't that's fucking weird, isn't it? I only realised several months later that, oh my god, I played the Frog game on Leap Day. That's perfect. Unintentional cinema, but anyway, the game itself is pretty meh. I think Goat Simulator was better, but yeah, that's kind of all I've got to say, to be honest. Goat Simulator was better. I feel like this is one that would benefit from multiplayer, to be honest with you. I feel like with people this would be a lot more fun. But yeah, I don't know. On your own, it's fine. Nothing to write home about, but it's okay. It's a sequel. Okay, got it. Yeah. I'm good. Got another ghost hunt tomorrow. Gonna start job searching next week. Hell yeah. Well, I hope the job searching goes well. Obviously, you put in the Discord about what company you worked for. They can go fuck themselves, honestly. I've heard... Yeah, I don't know. I've just heard a lot of bad things about them, so I'm sorry. I'm sorry they messed you about, buddy. But I'm sure you'll be able to find something else, and, you know, you'll absolutely smash it, I'm sure. So I'm sending out all my best wishes and love to you, Ranger. Hope everything goes okay. And I hope your ghost hunt... I just said ghost cunt. I'm so sorry. I hope your ghost hunt tomorrow goes well. Okay, there's a news report that accidentally messed up a politician's name a little while back. His name is Michael Hunt, and she accidentally said the C word live on air. Wait, no, he's not called Michael Hunt, is he? He's not called Michael Hunt. What's he called? Jeremy Hunt. Sorry, it's Jeremy Hunt, not Michael Hunt. Yeah, he's called Jeremy Hunt, and they just flat out called him the C word. It was very funny. They Freudian slipped it so badly. They think they're the best company in the industry, but they're the worst. Yeah, honestly, I feel like that's the way sometimes. Is they're just like, I don't know. They forget about the people, you know what I mean? The little people that help out. And, I don't know. And then it's too late and they realise, fuck, we're actually terrible. Too late. But yeah, anyway, you'll smash it, mate. I'm sure you'll smash it. But yeah, anyway, Amazing Frog, it gets a meh. I think it gets a meh. That's a fair assessment, I think. I'm debating on if I think it's going to be a lot of effort for me to jump back and forward with finding YouTube videos on the games that we're talking about. So I think if anybody wants to check any of these playthroughs out, they're all on the VOD channel on YouTube. So If you want to go look at footage for it in real time, go for it. But if not, I'm just going to be sticking to this screen. Bend over. Also, a very well-known politician here. Yep. Bend over. Right. Anyway, so our next game is Melatonin, which visually the art style I loved. I really like the illustrated style it went for, and I love rhythm games. I'm really bad at them, but I really like them. And Melatonin was a really cool one to sort of get my teeth into. I will say I didn't love it. And there's something about it that's stopping me from putting it in great. I think it's more just I can't see myself putting Melatonin next to these two games and say that they're kind of on par to some extent. And I think I did also enjoy DK Country more than I enjoyed Melatonin, so I think putting it firmly into good, very good, is where I'd want to put it. But I really did enjoy this game, and it's a lovely short game treat. If any of you are looking for a fun rhythm game, it's very good. It's very good. I really recommend it. And like I say, the music in it is really cool. The visual style is great. There's not really a narrative, so to say, or per se. There's very vague implications of there being some form of narrative, but I don't think it wasn't very clear to me, so maybe I'm just at fault for not noticing it. But it's yeah, I don't know. It's a nice visual and audible experience. I'll leave it at that. But it's a good game. I would recommend. Crispy bacon, very good. Very good. Since you've been there, they've stopped operations in about 5 countries and had job losses in another one. Jesus, yeah. It's crazy. I didn't even know they were part of Grubhub either, or Grubhub owned them. I had no idea that they were related. So just seeing the article that you put in was crazy to see, honestly. But yeah, no, it's crazy. It's a crazy world. Speaking of it being a crazy world, we're gonna leave Mass Effect in Elf the movie. No, I'm joking. I can't keep doing the Elf the movie the game, but right. So Mass Effect, I have a very rocky relationship with this game. I need to be very real with people out the gate. I have nothing against Mass Effect as a franchise. I really like the story and the characters of this game. I just feel like the execution in Mass Effect 1 in particular is very not good. Or not great, I should say. I will say though, after playing the remaster, I have definitely warmed up to the first game a bit more. So much so that I'm going to put it at the high end of decent. It gets a almost good out of Dave, which is a whole like point higher than it would have got previously. I don't know, I think a replay has genuinely made me like it more. But I think for me the biggest ongoing thing I have with Mass Effect, and I know that it might partly be to do with the game's age, and I know that Dragon Age obviously had some of the same problems, but I might have overlooked it due to like a genre bias or something, or a gameplay bias. But I feel like the characters are very stiff in the way that they're presented and the way they interact with each other. They feel very robotic, and for me that sort of takes me out of the immersion factor sometimes. Nothing on the voice acting apart from Commander Shepard, like male Shep is terrible. So playing Fem Shep was definitely the way to go for a replay. But the voice acting is really good. I cannot stress that enough. I really liked the voice acting in Mass Effect 1 and all of the and Mass Effect 2. They're the only two that I've played. But yeah, Mass Effect, all in all, I think I'm also not a massive fan of cover shooters, which I think sort of falls into an ongoing problem you might see with some games we play on here. I'm not very into third-person cover shooters. It's not really my kind of genre. I'm sure Spec Ops: The Line was a clear indicator of that. That got a 2 out of 10. But yeah, and I'm a little bit worried about 50 Cent because of that as well. I'm gonna be honest, 50 Cent might be in the same camp. But Um, I don't know, like third person cut. They're just not for me. I've got to be real. They're just really not for me. No disrespect if you like them. Obviously, everyone's different. This is a subjective opinion. It isn't the kind of shooter I enjoy really. Um, but yeah, story wise, character wise, universe wise, I even like space politics better this time around. Honestly, I'm usually not one for space politics. I don't like the prequels, like the Star Wars prequels for it. Um, but I didn't hate it this time around. I actually thought it was pretty good. It's pretty decent. Um, so yeah, Ruthless. That's right. Ruthless gave that review of Mass Effect just then. It wasn't Dave. It was Ruthless. Yep. But yeah, Mass Effect firmly in decent, the high end of decent. They bought Grubhub at 6 billion and then sold it for 600 to 700 million. Yeah, that's a big loss in there. That's a big loss. Yeah. Okay, well, next up we have Scott Pilgrim versus the World, the game. I need to be very honest. I have a big bias for this franchise. I love the film. Um, it hasn't aged great, I would admit, but I feel like since then we've also had the anime that came out, and I feel like that, if anything, is the thing I will definitively suggest people go and watch after they've watched the film if they had problems with the film. I think Scott Pilgrim Takes Off, which I think is the Netflix anime, is great. I loved it. I genuinely loved it. It's up there. It's one of my favorite things I've watched in the last couple of years. And it had all of the returning cast from the movie as well, which is very cool. That being said, the game that came out, I think, around the same time as the film coming out, I thought it was good. I didn't love it, but I thought it was a pretty bog standard beat 'em up, to the point where I thought aesthetically and everything it was pretty good. I did have a problem with the controls to some extent, but I think that's also, again, a bit like maybe Donkey Kong Country. I don't really play. Sorry, maybe not so much like Donkey Kong Country, but like I don't really play side-scrolling beat 'em ups at all. That's not really a franchise I've ever really delved into. I think for me, my enjoyment might have been limited by my inexperience. But also, thankfully, the game is quite forgiving, and I enjoyed the fact that the game had like almost like hub levels where you could go to shops and get upgrades and do various things, which like sort of help you like progress and like level up your character, which I don't know if older games would have had. But it felt pretty good. It felt pretty authentic to the source material, which is always nice to see. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was good. Probably not very good like these two. I'd probably put these two in very good. Or maybe, actually, no, I probably would put Melatonin in very good. I'll put all of these in good though. But yeah, I think Scott Pilgrim goes about there. Dead Rising. Okay, here we go. This is, I can see J Boogie and Ranger looking through my window right now with their pitchforks and torches ready. They're gonna get me. So, The Wolf Among Us. I thought this game was great. I had played it before. And The Wolf Among Us is, I think it's based on a comic of some sort, or it's based on like is it like a visual novel or something like that? If somebody has told me what it's based on, and I forget every single time. I think it might have even been Just Kill. That told me what it was based on, but think carefully. I don't know what you're talking with. But yeah, anyway, The Wolf Among Us though, great game. This is my second playthrough. I think the story is just as good a second time round. It's one of those games where I think you probably pick up on more on a second playthrough. Who, what, where? Ah, right, yes. Yeah. The Wolf Among Us, we're all good. We're all good. But yeah, I don't know if I enjoyed it. I don't know, actually, where I'd put this. I think I'd probably like this more than Journey, but I really, really like The Wolf Among Us. I put it in great. It's a very good story. It's a handful of the Telltale games that I actually like. I think it's very well done. But yeah. Point about Dead Rising. Flawbury, welcome in. Dave Davington, how you doing, buddy? Welcome in. What are we rating? We're rating all of the games I've played in 2024. So we're doing like a little like recap stream, Flawbury, and then we're gonna talk about some changes for 2025 as well. So we're sort of doing like what we did last year in hindsight. Like a look back, and then we're gonna be doing a what's to come sort of thing. But yeah. I should talk about Dead Rising properly now though, shouldn't I? Oh. Think carefully, seeing Mal through the window about Dead Rising, got you. He's getting the megaphone ready to tell me off. Okay, I'm gonna be real. Dead Rising actually goes into decent, believe it or not. I don't think it's good, but there are elements of Dead Rising that I actually think are quite good, or quite decent, I should say. Just not to confuse it with the good category. I genuinely think that conceptually it's a very fun idea, and I think that a lot of the reasons why it's okay, Dave, your life is on the line. It's all good. I know. Don't worry. The gun is firmly placed between my between my eyes. They're getting ready. They're getting ready to get me. But no. Dead Rising. I think the main thing, a bit like what we were talking about with Donkey Kong Country, is some of it comes down to like tedium of not having the modern gaming crutch. I'm using the word crutch a lot tonight. That's tonight's word of the day. But the crutch we have in modern gaming is auto-saving, right? Dead Rising did not have that. It might have had it like in very rare instances, but it's something that I very much missed out on, and sometimes the controls were against me, sometimes the AI was against me, sometimes various other factors came to screw me out of nowhere, and some of it's really unpredictable and really tedious. But I was thinking about this for a long time, because conceptually, again, I actually really, really like the idea of this game, and I like the fact you can just run around a mall and be stupid and pick up whatever you want. I like that there's like fun arcadey bits to it. I love that it's got that Capcom charm to it. There's a lot I really inherently would love about this game. It's a bit like Mass Effect, where there's a lot of things I would genuinely love to really like, but I feel like it's just the execution is not quite there, or it's like a bit older, so the technical limitations are there, where it's like making me just find bits a bit tedious. But again, conceptually, very cool. And like Ranger says, I think in hindsight, playing the remaster might have been the way to go. But I'm gonna be very real with everybody. If people genuinely want me to play Dead Rising 2, I will very happily do it. I'm not joking. If people want me to play Dead Rising 2, I will very happily go and play it, because I think, based on what everyone's told me, it is just an improved version of Dead Rising 1 in many ways. So I'm very happy to like entertain that and give this franchise another go. Wow, was Mass Effect that bad? Again, it isn't bad. It's more just it's Mass Effect 1. They get better. They get better, Flawbury. I'm gonna leave it at that. They get better. Kindle with his shotgun, very true. Yeah, that was another factor. Is Silent Hill on this? It is indeed. We'll get to Silent Hill in a little bit. We're going in order for the time being, but we'll get there. Dead Rising 2 added some nice mechanics. Yeah, that's the thing, right? I just feel like the sequel often has, like... I mean, Mass Effect, I can use the same example here, but it will just iron out a lot of the kinks that might have been in place originally, and they might have just found a few quality of life things to change. Also, isn't there like a 4-year gap between Dead Rising 2 and 1? I think Dead Rising 2 came out in 2010, Dead Rising 1 came out in 2006 or something like that. But yeah. I've been waiting to play the Legendary Edition of Mass Effect. I hope it'll be good. So I played the Legendary Edition of Mass Effect 1, Thorbury, and I've got to say, the Legendary Edition is very... It helps a lot. I will say, like, the original games on their own, people will argue that they've aged fine, but I think that there's a lot of quality of life things brought into that remaster, the Legendary Edition. You're going to have a great time, I promise. I hope you really, really like it. And I don't want to deter people with my ratings on things. I need to fully remind people, anything above this generally means that I recommend it or I like it. So decent and up, that's like, I think it's good to, I think it's like, you know, I think it's good, or I think it's decent, or there's something about it that I like more than I don't like about it. I remember Dead Rising being really cool, but it's a long time ago. Yeah, I think it is just an age thing with this game. Much like Mass Effect, I think there are elements that just haven't aged quite as well as I think for a new player especially. I don't think they've aged quite as well as like people think they might have done. But narratively, this game's great. Aesthetically, this game's great. And conceptually, this game is honestly like good to great. But it didn't do it for me. It didn't do it for me, Dead Rising. Correct. 2010. Gaia. Also might have been Dead Rising 2. That's, yeah. I just feel like I heard a lot of good things about Dead Rising 2 when it came out, so I'm warming to that one more already based on that. Like I had friends that played it back in the day as well, and even back then I remember them saying it was actually pretty good. So yeah, I'll wait and see. But again, I'd be very down to try it if people want me to play it. Anyway, so a good game now. Get on to a good game. Did I skip a game? I did. I feel like I didn't really talk enough about The Wolf Among Us. For anyone who doesn't know, this game's based on fables. I think it's based on a visual novel as well. It's based on like fables and like I guess like fairy tale characters that live in like modern day society. It's a little bit gritty. It's like detective noir kind of vibe. Very good. Great even. Couldn't recommend it more. I think it's really great. And then Dead Rising I gave a pretty decent review on, I think. So we'll leave it at that. Jazz punk. My voice is going, so I might have to go get another drink at some point. Oh, okay. Right, so Jazz Punk. This game's good. I'd even go as far to say I nearly said this game was great. I love this game. Like, as a funny little short game, detective game, it was so enjoyable. I really liked it. Actually, did I like it more than Melatonin? Actually, I'm debating that. I feel like that's the way around. Let's do that. Yeah, we'll do that way. But Jazz Punk, really, really good. I love the humor. I love how offbeat it was. It was very funny. I love the open world elements to it as well. Like you go to different areas and it almost be like Hitman, where you just had like a bunch of shit you could go play with in different ways. You could go like perform the task you were given. It felt really fun and open-ended at times, which I wasn't expecting. And yeah, I don't know, it's a highlight for me. It's genuinely a really cool highlight for me, I think. So I'd say it's very good. It's very good. Did you ever play the Game of Thrones Telltale game? I didn't, actually. I heard about it. I heard it was not great, but I only heard one person talking about it, so maybe other people felt differently. I don't know. But again, I'd be kind of down to try it. I liked it and forgot about it. But yeah, I don't really have a lot more to say on Jazz Punk. I'm kind of happy with it being sort of there. Yeah, good time. It was a good time. So many cool games never got a sequel. I know, right? It's crazy actually. It's crazy. I mean, this came out in like 2013, right? Actually, wasn't there like a 10-year anniversary version that came out a bit like very recently? I think there was like an extra thing you could go do in Jazz Punk. There was like a 10 years on like DLC or something. But I could be wrong. But yeah. Anyway, right. Pepsi Man. Oh boy, where do I put Pepsi Man? People might be surprised. I'm actually gonna put Pepsi Man like there. I actually really enjoyed Pepsi Man. It drove me up the fucking wall at the time, and it was... I don't know why on my birthday... sorry, on the day before my birthday, I decided to stream Pepsi Man until I beat it, which resulted in me staying up till 2 AM trying to beat Pepsi Man, and the worst part was our version of the game didn't have, like, music for some reason. It was like a bugged out version of Pepsi Man. And it was insane. I nearly lost my mind. I don't know. It's one of those, but I kind of love it. It's one of those games where it's torture, but I kind of love it. It's the masochist in me that's coming out there. But Pepsi Man, it was alright. It was alright. Also, do you guys remember, for anyone that watched the stream, there was a whole like 30-minute segment, roughly, of me trying to figure out how to dash to avoid the train. So many people that have never played Pepsi Man before that get to that bit have the same problem as me, and I'm so happy it's not just me. It's a recurring problem that people have when they get to that, where there's no dash mechanic that's explained, and everyone runs into this difficulty of like, oh, there's a dash button that we didn't know was like a weird like combo of buttons you have to do. I'm so happy it's not just me that had that problem. But yeah. Let's see. Sorry, I need to catch up. Oh really, Ranger? About each playable person was only created for the game. That's weird. I don't know why they did that. Isn't there a new Game of Thrones game coming out as well? Pretty sure there was like a new thing on the way. By the way, I recently talked to Dave, talked to the real Dave about your stream, and he said something about one of the J-Buddies, and I thought that was really funny. Yeah, so J-Boogie and Justkill are the J-Buddies, and they interchange constantly. Because certain members of chat, I won't call out which one of the J-Buddies it is, but one of them will keep changing their text name, or sorry, their text color to match the other person, and because they both begin with J and they both have like numbers at the back of their name, it's hard to follow sometimes. So they are now just a collective. They are the J-Buddies. DLC in 2017, hell yeah. Pepsi Man. We have a clip of just randomly going blit on Pepsi Man. That's true, we do. This is true. I never finished the Game of Thrones one. I hated how my decision always seemed to send things spiraling out of control. Man, sounds like a time. I feel like any decision would have triggered that. Yeah, the new Game of Thrones is like a gacha mobile game. Oh, really? Okay. I was there when you coined the term. Right, okay, but I already forgot until we mentioned it. I see. More gacha mobile, oh no. I'm sorry, that sucks though. More gacha mobile games. I don't know. I can stomach a handful, but I feel like we're getting to the limit, you know what I mean? The market is very saturated with such things. Anyway. They could make such a cool RPG. Yeah, honestly. I don't know. I really hope that more big, like, developers pick up IPs and make good games out of them. Like, recently we had the new Indiana Jones game that came out, and I haven't heard many bad things about it. I've heard a lot of really good stuff. And that's made by the people that made Wolfenstein. And I would love to see more big devs taking on IPs like that and doing something really, really cool with it. I'm not talking like EA and Star Wars again, or Ubisoft and Star Wars again, because I feel like that's a bit of a... I don't really like either of those companies, and B, it's a bit of a, like, dead horse at this point, Star Wars, I've got to admit. But, like, a Game of Thrones game that's like The Witcher, could you imagine that? Like a Game of Thrones game that's like styled like The Witcher, or like even like Assassin's Creed Odyssey or Valhalla or something like that, but it's Game of Thrones. That'd be sick. Like just a big old open world Game of Thrones game where you play as Jon Snow or something, or like you split between like, I don't know, like Tyrion, Daenerys and Jon Snow or something. That'd be so cool. That'd be cool. I'd play the shit out of that. Yeah, I don't know. For most games with big IPs are just quick cash grabs, especially anime. Yeah, very true. Wasn't the worst game of this year just gone like a... was it a Fairy Tail game? Or was it like a Bleach game? I can't remember. It was an anime franchise that got a game, and it was meant to be really, really bad. Was it Jujutsu Kaisen? It might have been Jujutsu Kaisen. That game might have been the poopy one. I've not seen any of the ones I just listed, but yeah. Kojima's Star Wars, let's go. Could you imagine? That'd be so weird. If Kojima made a Star Wars game, it would be about Salacious Crumb, calling it now. Jabba the Hutt's little, like, parrot thing. You would make it about Salacious Crumb, calling it now. There's a Game of Thrones game, an RPG game, but it's from 2011 for 360 PC and PS3. Set in the first season, and you play as 2 people. Hell yeah, that sounds pretty good actually. Oh, it's not the best. Graphics and controls are horrible, even for the time. But the plot was good. But you didn't feel like an open world game. Got ya. Okay. Kojima Minecraft. My name is Steve. Fuck's sake. God damn it. Right, anyway, we're gonna move on from the Hideo Kojima cut of Minecraft the movie. I think that's the thing. Steve will be mining blocks, and then he finds that one of the blocks is a cardboard box. And then Hideo Kojima jumps out of it. Salacious Crumb Solid. Fuck's sake. I could just picture, you know, the like the radio calls that Snake has with like Otacon or whatever he's called. I imagine that screen, but it's just Salacious Crumb's face in Snake spot, and he's just laughing. That's all I can picture. I've heard the story is neat, and I really like the Journey to the West story that Black Myth Wukong like tells and I think goes into. But I have heard the gameplay is not great, and I don't know if I feel like, I don't know, I don't think it's the kind of game I'd enjoy personally, but I heard very good things about its narrative, and I feel like visually it probably looks really cool as well. But yeah, I've heard I probably wouldn't enjoy it. Star Wars stealth game. there was a lot of hype around it. Yeah, I heard a lot of people saying it should have got Game of the Year as well. But yeah, yeah. Well, I'm sorry you didn't get on with it though, dude. But yeah, I did hear the Invisible Walls was like a big drawback for a lot of people. So I'm not surprised that it did get a bit of backlash. But yeah. Anyway, so we're gonna continue for a little bit. So the next game is Katamari Damacy Reroll. This is like a remake, or I guess a remaster more so, but it's kind of a remake of Katamari Damacy. I love this game. I hadn't properly taken into account how much I liked it, but my god, I liked it. So much so, I'm gonna put it like there. Like, I enjoyed it more than The Wolf Among Us. I probably didn't like it as much as Portal, but I loved it. I thought it was great. I couldn't get enough of it. I really want to play another Katamari game now. So again, if anybody has any Katamari games they want me to play, let me know. Let me know. I wonder if the story is like 99% copy of the Fable, or if they have something original in it. Also playing 10 minutes, I saw Wukong is the inspiration for Son Goku. Is that a Dragon Ball? I've got to admit, I do not know a single thing about Dragon Ball. All I know is Goku is a character. I could be very wrong though. It's the main character from Dragon Ball. Yeah. I heard the bosses are great, but Wukong's moveset is repetitive and boring. Isn't there like a really funny, like... Did I show this already? Tell me if I've shown this to people already. I might have to like... Here we go. I'm gonna... Oh god, it's a YouTube short though. I can full screen it, okay. Alright. I'm gonna do a quick video. I don't know if I can... Oh, I can turn it down. Perfect. Alright. Okay. We're just gonna watch this quickly as a little bit of a reset. I'll get back to talking about Katamari in a minute, but this video made me die. It's really funny. Katamari looks so fun when you played it. The main character of Dragon Ball. Sorry, yeah. This is what I've been told it's like. So you do like 2 damage with every swing. And it's just a lot of rolling. This is the vibe I'm getting from... This is the main thing I've seen about the game. And the vibes. There's the invisible wall. There you go. That's that's my base impression of the game, is that clip. I've seen it a few times on like TikTok and stuff. It gets me every time I watch it though. It's a very funny thing, but that's like my main insight into Black with Wukong. But I heard again the narrative and the visual is very cool. Very cool. Caleb, welcome in, buddy. Happy New Year to you too, mate. Hope everything's all good. But yeah. Replace shorts with the video link. Oh yes, that's right. That's right. I think you have... Yeah, that sounds familiar, Jessica. I think you have told me that. I feel like a lot of this is just like... Yes, he has told me. Jessica was like, for fuck's sake, Dave. This is the 5th time. Vibing, gonna sleep soon because you have an early shift tomorrow. Fair enough, mate. Fair enough. Well, thank you. I appreciate you stopping in for a bit though, my guy. I appreciate you being here. Let's get the music back going, please. Cool. But yeah, anyway, Caleb, we're talking about the games we played this year. So anyway, Katamari was the thing we were talking about before. I I still don't think I fully understand the narrative of that game, but I don't think I'm meant to. Um, the gameplay is very fun. It's so attuned to like games of that era, like the 2004 kind of time of like the GameCube being out and Nintendo doing a bunch of weird shit. And like a lot of companies were just doing weird shit in the early to mid 2000s, and I love it. I love that kind of era for that kind of thing. Raw ball over object, very very unique game mechanic, Just Kill, very unique. But yeah, I don't know. There's something about it. It it's kind of therapeutic. It's really weird, but I really really like this game. It's really cool. And yeah, that's kind of it for Katamari. I'd be down to play another one, like I said. So if there's like a newer one that people recommend, please let me know. Or even like a sequel to this one or something. I don't know. I'll be down. Okay, right. So tell me why is next. I'm also going to put this in great, but it's going to be on the very end of great. I hadn't played a... I don't know if this is... I keep getting this wrong, so forgive me if I do. I don't think this is made by Don't Nod. I think this is made by Microsoft, like Windows, or like Xbox, I guess, in like collaboration with Don't Nod, or maybe one of the parent companies of Don't Nod. I don't know if one of the other companies related with Don't Nod. I'm not 100% sure. But it's related to the Life is Strange devs in some way, shape, or form. And then Xbox are also involved. This game was really cool from a narrative perspective. I love the whole like what's the best way of putting it? Like the various story spins that were thrown into place. I really liked both of the twins as well. I'm not really going to go too much into the spoiler side of it. I really just recommend you go play it yourself if you haven't. But yeah, it caught me by surprise. I kind of wrote this one off a little bit because I feel like it's a very negative thing that the Life is Strange devs have had since Life is Strange 1 came out. But I feel like they're constantly bombarded with this wave of nothing they'll ever produce will top the first game, which I think is a bit of a toxic mentality to have. Don't get me wrong, I love the first Life is Strange game, but I think that there's still other stories that they could do. I'm sure I'd even like Life is Strange 2 whenever I get around to that, regardless of what people say. I think I'd still like to give it a go and bit like a fair judgment and everything. But yeah, I thought this was great. I genuinely thought this was a great little story, and I think I like this more than Before the Storm and what's the other one I played? Captain Spirit, I think is the other one I played. So yeah, great games, honestly. Really, sorry, great game even. And yeah, I'd like to play more Don't Nod adjacent things again, because this is the first one in like a hot minute that I'd played, and I was like, I kind of missed Life is Strange a little bit. But yeah. Right, well now it's time to escape to the city, everyone. And this is another one that I feel like I'm going to get boiled at the stake for, and it's Sonic Adventure 2. I feel like the decent category is the one I'm going to get judged for the most here. And I need to constantly reiterate, decent still means I enjoyed it. But that is definitely where Sonic Adventure 2 is also going. I like the story. I love the characters. 3D Sonic is very fun and cool. But this game controls like arse sometimes, and I will not hear otherwise. Like, I think the controls are the biggest thing that put me off this game. At least like mechanically, but everything else I thought had like a really good framework to it. I can definitely see why people like it, but it definitely wasn't for me completely. I also don't have the nostalgia factor with, like, I think if I did, it'd be like there, but although I don't have nostalgia. Ray, welcome in. How you doing? Happy New Year to you. I hope you're doing well. A ranking stream, how fun? Hell yeah, yeah. We're going through all of the games that we played this year. We're we're still only like halfway. Yeah, Sonic Adventure 2 needs more unhinged cutscenes like the ones from Sonic Adventure 1. I also agree with this. I feel like it played it too safe. Also, that one level was Rouge the Bat where we had to find all the key cards. That brought it down from here to here. So, yeah, you can blame that one level. But no, overall, I genuinely think there's a lot to love about it. I think it is just mechanically, it just hasn't aged quite as well. I'm happy that Sonic is not at the bottom. Honestly, I'd say there's a lot I really liked about it. But again, I didn't grow up with it. I don't have the nostalgia for it, and yeah, I don't know. I think that's a big factor with some of these. Like, I can very, very like prominently say that this game for some people probably isn't great, but I have a lot of nostalgia for it, and that's why it's there. You know what I mean? And we'll get to that with a few of the other games coming out later as well. But yeah, your disco stream feels like it was more than a year ago. Yeah, so the only reason that why this is featuring on here, Ray, is that we technically finished the game in 2024, but it was like we did like the last couple of streams and the finale in 2024. We did most of it in 2023, so I felt like it was fair to include it. Purely just based on the fact that we actually finished it in 2024. But you're 100% right. We properly played through all of it. Played through most of it in 2023. So it was a while ago now. It's so crazy to think about, like, The Witcher 3 was 2022. That was 3 years ago, guys. 3 years ago. That's insane. Time has just whizzed by. Cyberpunk was 2 years ago, which is also crazy. And also, as of if we get to the end of the month and we're still playing Baldur's Gate, it will be a whole year since we started Baldur's Gate, and we're still going. So some games just don't end on stream. Who would have thunk it? Who would have thunk it? Would you be willing to play the new Sonic game? I would be, yeah. I'd be down to play it. Honestly, I'm down to play a lot of Sonic games. I think that I just need to add like the pretense that I'm not gonna love every single one. Yeah, I'd be down to play more. Is it any good? I'm intrigued by Frontiers. Yeah, Frontiers is meant to be neat, and Shadow Generations is also neat. I was hoping Phantom Liberty would have been on a bigger discount on this holiday season. Phantom Liberty. I've forgotten what Phantom is. That a DLC for the generation? Sorry, for the Frontiers game. But yeah, KY, welcome in. How you doing, buddy? Happy New Year to you. Hope you're doing good. Did you finish Mother 3? We haven't yet. So, the 2 games that we haven't finished on this list, and they will be appearing in the 2025 recap as well because of this, is Baldur's Gate 3 and Mother 3. Mother 3, I think we're like most of the way through chapter 7, KY, if that gives you an idea of whereabouts we are. I think we've got like 3 more needles to go to. And then we're there, so we've probably got a little bit to go. Oh, Phantom Liberty. Sorry, yes, that is the Cyberpunk DLC. That is it. Sorry, yeah. How did I forget Phantom Liberty? I played it on the stream. Yeah, you're right. It is that one. It is that one. But yes, Mother 3 is... We're continuing it on Sunday, I believe. KY is the next day we're playing it. So if you're around, we'll be continuing it as of then. And I think throughout January, we'll mainly just be doing Mother 3 and Baldur's Gate. So look forward to that. It's going to be good. My voice is slow. I don't know if it's becoming more and more apparent the more I'm talking. My voice is slowly going. So I might have to go make a cup of tea or something in a minute. Or get another drink, because I think it's going to need it. Did you drink enough? I've just had the last of the drink I prepared, but I might have to go make another one in a minute. So I'll go for a bit longer, and then we'll continue. So then I'll go get a drink and then we'll continue. EK Pepsi and Hanawa's homemade water. Don't forget that. Don't forget that, Gem. But yeah. Okay, right, well, next, to continue the listing, next up we have Figment, which is a fun little puzzle game, which we got very stuck on at one point, which, I think it literally took me, like, most of a stream. I think it was literally me and Just Kill in chat trying to figure it out, and it was a really, really, like, ludicrous explanation for, like, how to do it. It was a puzzle that probably wasn't that hard, but it somehow became the hardest thing on the planet. Do you remember it, Jessica? Do you remember this, like, the pipe puzzle that we had to do? It was, like, difficult, right? It wasn't just me. I was so glad that it wasn't just me that was struggling. Unfortunately. Figment didn't look great, honestly. Well, funnily enough, I'm actually going to put it in good. I actually thought this game was pretty good. I really like the vibe of it. I really like the weird musical elements of it. The combat could have left something to be like, I don't know, like, I guess yearned for. I don't know, like, there was something about the combat that wasn't too great, but it wasn't bad. But I definitely didn't dislike it. I thought Figment was at least a good, so I'm gonna put it there. And I am intrigued to play the sequel one day. So for now, we'll stick with good. I'm kind of happy with it, but it was kind of fun. It's kind of unique. It also looked a lot. It was very I've forgotten who said it at the time, but it was almost like it definitely took a lot from Bastion visually. I think if you look at it and then look at Bastion, especially just from like some of the maybe even the combat elements as well, actually, in some cases it was a bit of a dumbed down Bastion in terms of the combat. But the puzzle elements were fun on their own. I did enjoy the puzzle side of it, and the aesthetic side of it I think was quite fun as well. But yeah, it was neat. Oh, yeesh, I remember. Did you know that warming up with singing exercises can help with warming up for talking longer? Oh, really? Okay. Not that but I can't even speak anymore. I'm getting to that point. Not that you would in any case. Well, it's funny you mentioned that. I was joking at the beginning. I should have done some vocal exercises. Maybe I need to start doing that for these streams. Maybe if there's like a tier list stream, or like insert other segment stream. Maybe I need to start doing that. But yeah. But yeah, no, Ray, I totally get what you mean though about it looking awkward at times. I could definitely see that. Yeah, there's elements of it that definitely weren't perfect, but I think there was enough there for me to at least say it's good. But yeah. Speaking of good, and I'm going to put this on the very high end of good, because for me this isn't quite great. I'm going to put Inside on the very high end of good. Dave sings Talking Heads to warm up. Fuck's sake. I feel like that and the Kojima bit are like the two things that have been the biggest ongoing throwbacks this year. Just gone. It's been once in a lifetime by the Talking Heads, and then just mentioning Hideo Kojima. But yeah. Is Inside better than Limbo? I'd say it's better than Limbo 100%. Oh yeah, Leon S. Kennedy, that's true. Leon S. Kennedy was also a good one. And the convention bit as well from the same stream, that was good. But yeah, we have had some good memes. But to answer your question, Thorbury, is Inside better than Limbo? I'd 100% say that this game is like a major upgrade to Limbo. I don't know, there was something about it that didn't quite push me to say it was like a great experience, but I definitely enjoyed my time with it. I was very creeped out by it. It constantly made me feel very unnerved and on edge, and I'm not going to ruin the ending, but the ending made me very disturbed in a way that I've not felt in a while. It was a really good game. It was a really, really good game, and I strongly urge you go give it a go. But I don't know, there was something that's stopping me from putting it in great. I don't know what it is. But something didn't quite click to make me give it like a higher score. But yeah, it goes on the very high end of good. It's very nearly a great game for me. But I enjoyed Inside. I enjoyed my time with it. They nailed the atmosphere. They nailed like this really like what's the word? Like a really like I guess like suppressive corpo vibe, where it's like corporation takeover and everybody's like under this very, very dark looming sense of like industry. I'm trying to find like a good way of putting it, but it's very dystopian. It's very, very dystopian in the way it presents itself, and I really love that from like a thematic element. But yeah, I couldn't recommend it enough actually. It's as a little like platformy puzzle game, very cool. Very cool. Actually I've remembered why I didn't give it great. It's because there's another game coming up that I think I liked more, that I felt was in the same kind of ilk. But I'll get to that when we get to that. First of all though, complete bias, this is my favourite game of all time. Mother 3, I don't think I can go into... I'll be here all day if I go into how much detail about like why I love this game. It's my favourite game ever made. There's something about it that's like... Its intrinsic like themes and the things and the subject matters it approaches and everything else involved with the game are something that I hold very near and dear to my heart. And we were talking about nostalgia earlier. I feel like it's totally fine if people don't like this or feel like it's very like niche or weird thing. Completely understandable. It's for me, this is like some people they do this, right? Some people they do that. Totally fair. totally fair. But this was like the big RPG that I played like when I was younger. It was one of the first games that I properly cried to. You know what I mean? It was a thing that like sort of opened my eyes in many ways to like ways that RPGs could be very complex in storytelling. This and Final Fantasy VII were very like formative games for me growing up, and yeah, I love them to death. Honestly, Mother feels so timeless. I think that's the thing as well. Is that like the game, even playing it now, that the game feels like it could be something that's just on Steam that an indie dev made. You know what I mean? I feel like it hasn't aged super poorly. And yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that's a testament to like the visual style of the GBA and Mother 3 or what, but I do feel like a lot of the elements of that game have just absolutely hit the nail on the head and just live on even now. And the fan translation, I cannot praise it enough. It is so good. So to everybody that like did the fan translation, thank you so much for helping introduce me to this lovely franchise and this lovely game. It means the world to me. So it's great. I actually got a bit teary-eyed then. I'm gonna try and move on before anything else happens. Mother 3 is the first game you ever streamed back in 2010. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. We noticed. It's okay, Dave. You're talking about something you love. But yeah. Anyway. Anyway. That's awesome though, KY. KY, I think I actually went back and watched one of them. I think I might have watched the first stream you did. I don't know if they're still on your channel, but I'm pretty sure when you told me that you streamed them, I think I actually went back and watched a good chunk of like the first part you did. I think this is a couple of years back now though. Mother 3 makes me tear up too. It's truly a special game. It really is. It really is. Like, it's, yeah. If you haven't played it, I strongly urge you don't watch me play it and you go play it for yourself. So, yeah. I've streamed it twice. I don't think the original upload is anywhere. Oh, okay, so it might be the re-upload or like the other playthrough you did then that I saw maybe. It was whatever was on your YouTube channel was the thing that I watched. But yeah, honestly, it's great that I'm so happy I get to stream it and share it with people. But yeah, as I say, if you're ever interested or if people ever want to play it, please, I strongly urge you go give it a go. It's lovely. It's lovely. It's so good, especially if you've already played something like. I don't know if people will be annoyed by this comparison, but the more modern take, I guess, is if you've played Undertale and liked it, you'll definitely like this. I think that's a fair thing to say. Some people really hate Undertale. Fair enough. Totally valid. But Mother 3 definitely has that DNA of Undertale, and it's very clearly a big inspiration for Toby Fox, who then went on to make Undertale. But yeah, without it, you know, I don't know, Undertale might not be the same game. I don't know. Anyway, Mother 3. Good stuff. I'm gonna go get a drink quickly before we talk about the gas car. Obviously, I'm gonna leave you all hanging and put Madagascar there, but I'll be right back. So don't go anywhere. Yeah, I'll be back in a sec. I'll literally just be a minute. I need to get some more PK Pepsi, so I'll be a sec. Okay. Oh my god. Oh my god, my smoker's lungs just caved in then. Did you guys hear that? Wow, I went to speak and I turned into Patty or Selma. Other Bouvier family members are available. Ghoul Dave is not real. He can't hurt you. Hey, smooth skin. I don't know what I was about to say. Hey, smooth skin. Done. Ship it. Good stuff. Good stuff. It's all good. This is just the big long vocal warm up stream I needed. It's all good. And Flawbury, if I didn't say it already, 100% Undertale wouldn't have existed. I don't think without Mother 3 or Earthbound. I guess I think mainly Earthbound, but ultimately this game's also affected, right? Right, now we have the very delicate topic of Gascar. Now, it had a nice 2 to 3 minutes sitting in the Game of the Year category. I'm gonna have to now very against fan favor. I'm gonna have to move it down the list a little bit. Probably to about here. Maybe here. I feel like Pepsi Man and Gascar are probably interchangeable. I don't know. The Madagascar game actually was decent. I can't believe I'm saying this. And Just Kill, I have no doubt that when you told me this game was actually decent, I didn't doubt you at the time. We're actually good. I didn't doubt you at the time. But this game was actually a half decent license game to a point where I was like, oh my god, this actually has legs. Very rarely am I like, yeah, okay, not. I've won him over. I've said the right things. I've won him over again. It's all good. It's all good. But yeah, this game actually was pretty alright. It's pretty alright. I also love the minigame stuff in there as well. Like, it felt like a pretty fully fledged, like, packaged game for the time. And we played some real stinkers of licensed games before as well, but this one actually felt like a pretty well thought through thing. There were certain levels that are definitely better than others. I cannot stress that enough. But overall, I actually had a pretty good time with Madagascar. I think this one also, the streams actually helped me enjoy it more, I think. Like, we had some pretty batshit chat interactions throughout that playthrough. I think that's the thing that, like, heightens my my love for some games that we played this year as well. Is like just playing it with people and just the stupid things that ended up happening and things we can laugh about and talk about was like a big highlight for me. And this game was full of that. It was full of that. Like, one of my biggest, funniest memories. Great for the bowling balls. But one of my my funniest, like, in hindsight things was the penguin saying a hut out of time. The hut, like the really out of time hut was so funny. I kept thinking about that for like days after. It was so funny. It still kills me. And then what else was there? There was something else as well. There was like a few time segments where we had to get to the end of something in like a time thing, and that drove me up the wall. The golf minigame was kind of fun. We did that one like curling-esque minigame as well. It was really funny. It was a good time. I had a good time with it. But yeah, I'd say honestly, the there feels about right. There feels about right. I can't say the same sadly for this licensed game. This one was actually kind of bad. This was the first Dave and Jess Pixel Partners game that we played. More of Dave and Jess Pixel Partners will be returning in 2025, so stay tuned. We're gonna dedicate the series mainly to playing games from me and Jess's childhoods, as like little one-off games more than anything. It probably won't be a full series, but it's gonna be is Gorbachev on the list? It is indeed. It's down here. But yeah, we're gonna dedicate it to like little playthroughs of like going a bit like what we did with Elf Bowling the other week as well. But yeah, it's gonna be good. Flawbury, I gotta sleep. Hopefully I don't have nightmares about Pokemon Snap being rated too poorly. Have fun, guys. No worries at all, Flawbury. Thank you so much for being here, buddy. I can assure you Pokemon Snap is above decent. If you want that closure. But I'll diverge We'll divulge more about that later when we get to it. But it's all good. But yeah, have a good one, Thorbury. Take it easy, buddy. And yes, School Patrol, it's here, so we're all good. But yeah, anyway, Lion King, it was a bit of a disappointment, and the game crashed, I think, when we were playing through it. That adds a bit of hilarity. So that's good. But overall, this game, it wasn't great anyway, I don't think. I think it's one of those games where you look back on it, it's like, oh no. Oh no, my childhood is a lie. And Jess agreed that it wasn't very good, and, you know, it was from her childhood, so I don't feel too bad about giving that an oh no. But yeah. But yeah, let's see. Let's see, there's a fast food sim that is co-op. You run the fast food place yourself, so you can have someone taking orders, someone doing the fries or burgers. If you want a community game, that sounds fucking hysterical, Ranger. But at the same time, I feel like I'm gonna be losing. For example, if I invited, let's say, off the, I don't know, off my hand, like you, Just Kill, and Ray, I guarantee that all three of you want nothing to do with me by the end of it. I don't know, like it's one of those things where I do like the idea of that. Actually, that does sound fun. Me screaming into the mic, fuck your Just Eat order, literally. This is how Ranger deals with the therapy side of everything he's been through. It's he can scream back at the customers now. It's fine. It's all good. But no, I would be down to, you know what, I'll have a look into that. Sounds like a good time. Oh, there's a drive-through as well. Okay, that sounds pretty fun actually. That sounds pretty good. Hell yeah. Can I stick my dirty hands into the fry basket like Master Fry Chef Donald Trump? Yeah, go for it. Why not? Anything goes, I suppose. In the kitchen, yep. Burger King foot lettuce. That is a throwback I didn't want to remember, Just Kill, but thank you. Number 15. Burger King foot lettuce. That's such a terrible meme. That's such a terrible meme. My god. I'm glad that you don't get shouted at because McDonald's forgot someone's dips. Yeah, I remember seeing that video before it was a meme. That's the thing, right? A lot of these things, it's always like it ends up being a thing after the fact. Some people are like, I was there first. I saw it happen. I remember. You're thinking it was such a weird way to talk. I looked through the comments and nobody was talking about the way he pronounced it. That surprises me. I feel like the voice of that person is like, I don't know, I feel like, not to be mean to them, but that's kind of the selling point. I don't know. Possibly deleted comments, maybe. Maybe it was like, he got so bullied by it, he was like, no, I don't want that. I don't want this to stain my career. But yeah. Okay, well, we're gonna do our next game now. We're gonna talk about Panzer Dragoon. Now, I've not really played many, like, would you categorize this as like a bullet hell? Or like, what was the genre we said it fell into? It's like a fly-by-shoot game. I don't know what the correct, like, genre is for this. Rail shooter, thank you. Rail shooter, that's the one. I think for my Babby's first rail shooter, like it was for me, I think it's actually pretty good. But I think the one thing I will say is that there's games that are way too difficult and it becomes tedious, and then there are games that are way too easy to the point where there's not really a challenge there. Um, and I feel like I'm gonna put it at the very bottom of decent, which might surprise people. I think I like the vibe of this game, and it is a good short game. Like, we beat this in 2 hours, like very easily in 2 hours. But it does feel like a very, very I think for a remake it feels quite minimal. It feels more like a remaster, I think, is what a lot of people were saying about it. Um and I definitely had a good time with it. I enjoyed it. I thought it was a cool time. The music was pretty good as well. Like, I've got to say, the music was decent. Um, Story was kind of nonsensical. I agree with that as well, 100%. Um, but yeah, it had like, it felt like an arcade game. You know, I mean, I know that a lot of rail shooters generally are. Um, but it definitely had the essence of, like, you're in an arcade, everyone's screaming around you, and you're not really paying attention to the story. So here's like a cutscene of a dragon flying over another dragon, and that's all you're gonna get for context. Um, but yeah, overall, I had a fun time with it. I thought where there was gameplay and the levels and stuff were cool, but I've got to say, I did sort of walk away from it thinking, is that it? Does that make sense? I feel like I was just expecting a bit more from it, and maybe even a bit more of a challenge at times too. But it is what it is. It is what it is. And I've never played a Panzer Dragoon game at all either, so it was a nice sort of introduction to the genre, but also the franchise. So I didn't hate it. I didn't hate it, but it definitely left a lot, like, for the imagination, I guess. Or like a lot to be sort of wanted from it, but it was cool. It was cool. I'm really surprised they didn't bundle the second game with it. I feel like that would have been worth it, right, J Boogie? 100%. I totally agree with that. I pre-ordered Final Fantasy VII Rebirth from CD Keys. Let's go. Really surprised they didn't bundle the second game. Yeah. I think your messages came through twice then, J. Why? Wow, I every time I see that username, I have to take a moment to sort of take it in. Welcome in. How you doing? I'm not gonna read your name, but welcome in. Um, I'm doing good, thank you. I hope you've had a nice Christmas and New Year's. How are things? um, you want to make sure it's sunk in, got you? everyone's taking in the username. It's all good. Wow, Just Kill as well. Crazy. Thank you for reminding me, guys. Thank you. Yeah, they should have bundled in the second game though. Let's be real. Let's be real. Anyway, you really need to be in the bundle. Yeah. Surprised they didn't. 100%. How long could we drag this bit on? What bundle are we talking about? The bundle. No, I'm not gonna play along. The we're talking about Panzer Dragoon Ranger. So we're just saying, like, uh, it was a bit short. They could have put another game into it as like a bundle, and not like the second game remade. But that's it really. That's it. I don't really have a lot more to say about it. The Mayo, I've been doing the Kojima bit forever and I still haven't run it into the ground. I thought there was an issue with Twitch and people's messages were repeating. No. It's a bit. It's all good, Ranger. We're doing it for the bit. It's all good. I'm not gonna gaslight. I'm not gonna do it. um. Anyway, so I'm gonna move on. I'm going to move on to Little Nightmares, which is our next game. This goes into great. I'd even say I think I enjoyed it more than Tell Me Why by a margin. I think that Little Nightmares did what Inside didn't do for me, weirdly. I think Little Nightmares, like, I feel like they both, in some ways, were trying to do something similar, but I think Little Nightmares took the cake. I think it was mainly due to its, like, style. But yeah, there was something about it that kind of took it away for me, and I'm also a big fan of a lot of like the creepy Tim Burton like Night Before Christmas kind of style stuff, or like I know that Coraline isn't by Tim Burton's team, but that kind of like Coraline style kind of, I don't know, there was something that just really drew me to the aesthetics of this one, and it sort of helped me appreciate it a lot more. Oh, I see. Thought bundling the same message together would be a fitting way to represent the bundle stance. I see. Right. There's an echo in here. Hell yeah. Curse of the Were-Rabbit better be game of the year. Oh boy, okay. Everyone's gonna get their pitchforks and torches out again, huh? I'm gonna stay quiet about Curse of the Were-Rabbit for now, that's fine. But yeah. No, Little Nightmares was cool though. Again, I think it did a lot of what Inside did, but in my opinion, better. But again, I'm just a bit biased to that kind of like visual presentation and style. I think they're both very good in their own right. Some people might even argue that Inside's better. Totally fair. Totally appreciate your point. But yeah, I don't know. Little Nightmares did it for me a tiny bit more. Next up we have Fireboy and Water Girl, which is a Flash game from the I think the early 2010s. For anybody in the UK, maybe globally, I don't know if this is a global website, but Cool Maths Games. Anybody that grew up and relied on like Flash games to like get you through boring classes in the computer room, you'll know what I'm talking about. This game, pretty heckin' cool. I played it with Jess. This is the second Dave and Jess Pixel Partners game we played in the year. I actually hadn't played this one before, but honestly, like visually, it's very nostalgic to Flash stuff, and it's not the most like out there thing in the world. I will admit it does look quite dated now. But puzzle wise, I actually kind of liked the puzzles and like the, I don't know, the reliance on each other. I know that other games would have been out before this that did it better. But for what it is, it's pretty good actually. It's pretty good. I wouldn't say it's better than any of the other games in good, but I'd still say it's good. So yeah, Fireboy and Water Girl, Fairy Tale, pretty good. I enjoyed my time with it. And yeah, me and Jess had fun playing it, so I cannot complain. Right, a story about my I was about to say a story about my uncle. That's not the game. Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons. That's the one. Where do I put this? I think I put this like here. It's at the high end of good. I thought this game was really good, and I guess in some ways it takes Fireboy and Water Girl and makes it a much more narrative experience. No, this is a really weird segue. I don't know why I'm trying to relate the two. It's more just a thing of like you're using the same like input device to like control two people. That's like the only comparison I've got. But Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons I thought was a really solid game. It's really cool to see a game like utilize this sort of thing. I don't think I've ever played a controller game that does that, where you have to play as two people at once with the controller. So that's sort of my first like foray into that, and I really enjoyed the puzzles in it. I thought the story was excellent. I had seen Ray play it before, Ray in chat, and that was like an introduction to the story and everything. I think I'd seen other people play it years and years before as well. But yeah, overall I thought it was really good. I really enjoyed playing it through myself. I can now say that I've done it. Um, do we know what the remake was like? Have we talked about the remake? Is the remake even out yet? Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons? I don't even know. But I feel like I remember hearing something not so good about it, but I could be wrong. I could be wrong. Yeah. Right, well, with 2 hours in, my voice is going more and more. I will try and rapid fire some of these a little bit more than I have been. Luigi's Mansion is much like Mother 3, is a big old bias nostalgia pick. And for that, it's going to go immediately into Game of the Year. I do, however, think everything else that we've played this year is better than it. I think Disco's better. I think these games are all better than Luigi's Mansion, but I love that game to death, and it was lovely going back to it as well. It's honestly, like, I'm so happy that Nintendo have continued to make that franchise as good as it has been. And yeah, it's just a fun, goofy, like, not quite horror game. Mario, it's Silent Hill 2's main influence. That's right. Kojima, of course, Kojima made Silent Hill 2, as we fully established in the Dave lore. And when he did, the week before Luigi's Mansion had come out, leading up to Silent Hill 2 coming out, and then he changed the entire game based on his inspiration of Luigi's Mansion. That's why Maria sounds so much like Mario. That's why Chris is wearing green. Wait, what's he called? Is he called Chris? What's the main character called? It's not Chris, is it? It's something else. Is it Chris? Fuck, I've forgotten the name of the main character. I nearly said Jason. James, there we go. James, thank you. James is wearing green like Luigi. Major ripoff. Major ripoff. But going into Silent Hill 2, honestly, a bit like Dead Rising, I think that I would have benefited from playing the remake. Sean! Jason! But no, I think I would have benefited from playing the remake of Silent Hill 2. I think that overall I still would, and this might surprise people based on what I just said, that Jason was on point, thank you. I need to play Heavy Rain. I'm still going to put it in, like, maybe mid to high good, because I still thought atmospherically, despite, like, the controls not being all that sometimes, and the other bits being kind of tedious, it was good. Like, I did have a good time with Silent Hill 2. Like, I genuinely thought it was a good game. Do I think that there were certain things that could have been done better in a remake? 100%. And I think I would have enjoyed the remake more, for sure. But yeah, overall, Silent Hill 2 was, like, mid to high good. And yeah, I'm happily gonna put it there. I think that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at with Silent Hill 2. But yeah, I enjoyed it. It was a nice eye opener, and I get why it gets as much praise as it does. You know, part of me does sort of think maybe we should have played 1 first, but I was told 2 was the right way to go, and I'm happy that we did do 2. So yeah. Nightmare Cart, which for anyone who doesn't know what Nightmare Cart is, it is Bloodborne, but a kart racer, and it's the closest thing we're ever going to get to playing Bloodborne on the channel, so I hope everybody enjoyed the 2 hours of Nightmare Cart that we had. And I'm going to put it here, because it takes something to demake Bloodborne, which the same group of people did previously. They did a demake of Bloodborne, which is very good. We've played it before on the channel. But it's then something else to take the entire story of Bloodborne and turn it into a kart racer. What an insane idea that ultimately paid off and was really, really cool. It was weirdly innovative and good. Like, it was free as well. Like, what a good idea and what a good game. I thought it was a really, really fun Halloween game to do as a little one-off. And yeah, Nightmare Cart. pretty heckin' good. Pretty heckin' good. Okay. Oh, Ghoul Dave has re-emerged. Let me have a drink. Say goodbye to Ghoul Dave, everyone. Okay. Right. Here we go. Is everybody keep Ghoul Dave alive? He's still here. He's just he's just in the background. I fucking forgot about that Bilbo emote. That's such a fucking good Bilbo emote. What was I gonna say? Anyway, Wallace and Gromit, here we fucking go. Are you guys ready? Be pogging out of your mind. That's right, Wallace and Gromit got Game of the Year. It's the best game I've ever played. I was lying when I said there was never a 10 out of 10 game. This game was the best game I ever played. Hideo Kojima worked on it himself. Handcrafted by him and the talented folks at Aardman. Every single despawning thing that screwed me over constantly was handcrafted by the man as well. No, I'm joking. This game, very sadly, is barely decent. I'm so sorry to everyone that loves this game. I nearly gave it a 5 out of 10, which is meh. Or a 5.5 out of 10. Wallace and Gromit themselves came alive and made the game, that's right. But no, I'm really sorry to everyone that might have nostalgia for this game, or this film, or anything like that. I really... There were elements of this game that felt really, really fun at first, when you first do it. But I think the repetitive nature of doing the same quests over and over and over again, at different times of the day, with some of the very janky mechanics and controls at times, really didn't do it for me after however many hours we played it. I think we ended up playing it for like 19 hours. The prize pumpkin. That's right. The amount of time we heard that. Literally. Oh no, lads. The prize pumpkin. Can't do a Wallace impression for the life of me, but... yeah, it's like... There were so many elements of it that it just really, really steered me off of liking the game. It even made me go from making this game like a meh to me realizing, actually, you know what? This game was not as bad as this one. So, yeah, I don't know. It very barely gets a decent, because I think there were some bits of it that were actually quite good. For a licensed game. I need to add the pretense of for a licensed game onto most of this. But even then, like you know what? No, I'm gonna completely change my answer. It doesn't quite get decent. It doesn't quite get decent, but it's still not the worst thing in the world. So I'm gonna go with that. It's controversial, I know. But fuck me, that game was also a pain in the arse at times, and yeah, I don't know. That one stream that took me, like, it was like the last stream we did of it, and I nearly gave up trying to do all of that, like, really, really arbitrary, just random shit. And then, also, the dogfight at the end was the bit I was looking forward to the whole game, and it was like a less than 2 minute segment, compared to the repetitive as fuck rabbit mini games and everything else. I don't know, it's... yeah. You put it in meh? I don't believe you. I know, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm only here because of that game. I'm really sorry. I'm so sorry. But yeah, it wasn't... I tried to like it. I really tried to like it. I love Wallace and Gromit. I even love the film, but the game is not all that. Maybe decent is too high. Yeah, I mean, it's... Elements were... Did you see the new one? I did. As I said, we talked about it very briefly at the beginning, but I thought it was really good. I really liked the new one. I really liked it. I also liked, as I said before, I really liked the new Wallace voice actor as well. Seems like a good fit. Um, but yeah, can't stand him really. I've heard a few people say they didn't like him, but I didn't think it was that bad. It sounds nothing like Wallace. I don't think it's that bad. It sounded pretty alright. But yeah, no spoilers obviously for the film itself, but it's very good. I enjoyed it. It's a good return to form, I think, for them. But yeah. Anyway, we're gonna get on to Bulb Boy next. That's right, Bulb Boy, the point and click game that I've forgotten why we played this one. Oh, it's Halloween, wasn't it? Of course. In my head, I was like, why was this on the list? Um, I think I'm gonna put this like here, maybe. I think aesthetically it's cool. It was a very, very bog standard point and click at the end of the day, but I do love me a good point and click game. So much so that this Wallace and Gromit game got higher in the ranking because of it was a point and click game. But yeah, overall, Bob Boy pretty good. It wasn't anything too remarkable, but I thought it was still good, and it's an enjoyable experience. Next we get on to Gorbatrol, or Gorbachev as it's been called called in the server. Gorbachev, I actually think it might be the high end of decent. Actually, I might even go to say it's good. Where do I... Well, okay, hang on. I need to figure out, where did I put this? I think I need to see where I put this on like a sheet somewhere. Where did I put this? I gave it a 6, okay. So that's like decent. Okay. Right, well, it's going in 6. I'd argue that this game is like up here maybe. I thought it was actually like there was a lot of it. So this was an SNES game. So I think it came out in 94, I want to say. 1994. I think like visually, and I continue to say this about like most of the SNES catalog in general, but I feel like 16-bit sprites and everything look really good even now. And visually, I think this game does stand out pretty well. But for me, I think that there was definitely times where the old this game is too hard because it's it doesn't have my autosave functions like modern games do kicked in, and I definitely started to fall back into getting angry at the game for really silly reasons, and I think a lot of the rage just came from me being a bit shit, to be honest. But like, yeah, at times it felt very, very difficult, to a point where I don't know if it was as enjoyable. Am I right in remembering that we had to cheat in the ending for Gorbachev? Didn't we have to like use a password to spawn back in? I seem to vaguely vaguely remember us doing that. I think we did, didn't we? So I think I did have to cheat for like the very last boss, but we did a pretty good job up until then. But yeah, overall, it was honestly pretty decent. I had a good time with it. I definitely liked it more than Pepsi Man. But yeah, it's pretty good. Right, going into another decent game, we have Teleforum, which I again probably put somewhere in like the mid kind of range of decent. So Ranger suggested this game as like a spooky Halloween game, and Ranger, if you're still there, correct me if I'm wrong, but I remember you saying at the time that like it wasn't very spooky for you. And I think in hindsight, I kind of agree with that, where I was expecting more of a psychological horror shift than we got from the game. We even replayed it a few times to try and get different outcomes, and I definitely didn't get the intended spooks I thought I was gonna get from it. But I don't know. Overall, yeah, I thought it was gonna be a full-blown horror with jump scares, but it wasn't. Yeah, exactly, Ranger. Yeah, I was expecting more creepy, maybe not even jump scares, but I was expecting at least like a few more creepy elements to be in it than there were. But I mean, it's a free game in reality. I can't really complain, but it was still like an interesting little story. But yeah, it was a nice little game. But yeah, as I say, if you're looking for something that's like a bit more spooky, I don't know if I would recommend it. But if you're looking for just something that's a little bit chilling, yeah, it's alright. Alright, Bite Night. People might be mad about this. I'm gonna put Bite Night like. Oh no, I don't know actually. No, I'm gonna put Bite Night there. Bite Night was a really stupid, like I say stupid. It was a game where you befriend a vampire basically, and you have to run like a shop in the middle of the night. And it's like a comedy horror game, and it's really really silly. And I actually had a great time with it. It's obviously not super complex in the way it works, which is why it's only indecent. But our good friend, we called him Blaramy, the vampire. Love Blaramy. I miss him. But that game is so funny. And yeah, I recommend you go watch the VOD for that one, because that one was like a really really fun time. But yeah, and then the Power Wash. I feel like I don't need to go into too much detail about the Power Wash DLCs here. I'm just gonna do. I'll get to the Christmas one actually, but yeah, Power Wash DLC is good. Power Wash Simulator is great. I don't know, but the DLC, I'd put it like firmly in good somewhere, like probably like I don't know, like there. It's good. Right, Pokemon Snap also goes into good. I'm gonna put Pokemon Snap like here. You know what, I'm gonna put it there. I really enjoyed this. It's a really fun, really cute game. Like, even now, I think that this game has aged surprisingly well, but I think that's mainly down to it being quite simple. And I guess technically it's another on-rail shooter to some extent. If you really, really try and like drag the barriers for what's included as a rail shooter, I guess Pokemon Snap kind of is that. But yeah, I had a good time with it. I actually thought it aged surprisingly well, like I said. I liked that the backtracking actually felt good and like necessary and well done. The one thing I personally sucked at, because I know Florbury will probably come back and watch this later, I'm fully willing to admit I sucked at trying to capture the moments where the Pokemon were posing. I'm fully aware of the fact that I wasn't good at this game, but I heckin' enjoyed it. I heckin' enjoyed it regardless, and I think that's the main thing. But yeah, I know overall I thought it was good. I really like the new Pokemon Snap. I didn't finish it though. Hell yeah, yeah, Ray. I remember you saying about it. Honestly, I'd be kind of down to check it out. I think much like what you did though, I think I want to try and rent it from somewhere, because if I'm going off of like the amount of time it took me to beat this game, if it's also quite a short game, I don't know if I'd want to spend like £40 to £50 on a game that's not super long. Especially with like, you know, ongoing Nintendo prices and stuff like that. But I would definitely, if I have a chance, I'd love to try out the new Pokemon Snap for sure. I'm glad you liked it as well though. Were there any like callbacks, Ray? Did you see anything that was like a direct like what's the word for it? Like a direct callback to an older game, or like a level that might have been like reproduced from like the original Pokemon Snap or something? Or was it just like a completely new experience? We're kind of overspending money on Nintendo, to be honest. I'd like to say the same, but sadly I think I'm an ongoing hostage of Nintendo, much to Jess's disappointment. Um, but yeah, I try not to get their games at full price if I can. I usually wait for like a sale or something. Honestly, I'm not familiar enough with the earlier games to know what's referenced. Got ya. That's fair. That's fair. I feel like a lot of it can be quite interchangeable as well with Pokemon Snap. I'm sure that there might not be a subtle nod, but there's probably similar mechanics and stuff, right? I'm sure it's relatively similar, I'm sure. But yeah, I don't know, I just like the concept. Plus, like, on the Switch, the Pokemon are gonna look way cuter, let's be real. Like, you got that high-definition Pokemon now, as opposed to the, I don't know, the polygonal Meowth that we saw about 50 times. But yeah. The gameplay felt identical for sure, yeah. Honestly, I think that's kind of a good thing, though. I feel like that's all you really need for it. It's not always a bad thing, right? But yeah. Right, well now we get on to the Shipmas games, oh boy. And I guess like as a further extension, the Christmas games. Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer was terrible. Sorry, Elf the movie, the game is like the worst here. In fact, we'll just put Elf here for I don't know, for prosperity's sake. This game was so short and so minimal. I didn't even upload the VOD. I gave up on the VOD. We literally had to go and play the Polar Express game until my stream started lagging, because this game was too short and too bad to keep playing. So for that, it will remain at the bottom of the list for now. Elf the movie, the game, is now going to be our ongoing tradition to speedrun it every year. I believe our time was 30-something minutes, 35 minutes was our speedrun this year for Elf the movie, the game. We need to beat that next year, so I might do some training beforehand. But yeah, next year we'll try and beat our record. Elf the movie, the game. Anyway, it's a fun little tradition to have. And yeah, all in all, it's not great. It's not a good game. But it's a game. And it's a Christmas tradition now. So we have that to look forward to. Oh, I didn't put the Zero on the list. God damn it. I knew I forgot a game. Well, for Joel and Ali, firstly, thank you Joel and Ali for joining me for Viscera this year. Viscera will be firmly placed into good somewhere. So for Joel and Ali, if you watch this at any point, it'll be somewhere in here. And then also the other games that aren't here are the Jingle Jam games that we played very briefly. But thank you again to who joined me for the Jingle Jam games. Thank you to Caleb and thank you to Liam for joining me for those as well. So yeah. But yeah. Days Before Christmas. I think this game is right only just into the good category. I thought this was a really solid platformer, and it felt pretty good to play, even now. I really don't have a lot more to say about this game. It's just kind of bog standard good. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but it really just... It's not too offensive, it's just kind of good at being a functional platformer, and it's an actual good Christmas game. So, I don't know, that's all I have to say, really. Elf Bowling 1 and 2, Jesus Christ. Okay, I will say, previously Elf Bowling would have been about here, but playing it with someone made the experience even better. And as cheesy as this is going to sound, it is like a bit of a core memory now for me and Jess to be like, okay, we played Elf Bowling together on stream. That was quite cute. So I'm going to put it there. Purely because I had a great time streaming it with Jess. So there we go. There we go. Enough said. Enough said. Finally, I think this is the worst game we played all year. I'd like to shout out J Boogie in chat for finding this dumpster fire of a game for me. So thank you, J Boogie. Fucking Home Defender was the worst game we played this year. I'm not even joking. That game was terrible. It didn't work half the time. it was so convoluted and stupid the other 50% of the time. It was genuinely terrible, but I loved every second of it. So thank you so much for finding it, J Boogie. I need to watch the VOD for it. I had no idea how bad it was. Yeah, I think you need to. You probably don't need to watch the whole thing, but it's not great. I'll leave it at that. It's not great, dude. It's not great, but it was good content. We'll put it like that. The game was bad, but the content was the creme de la creme. So, and the good news is I got a refund on it as well. So I didn't even have to have the stain of that being on my Steam profile. It was a good day to know that I'd got my refund through. So what can I say? I was very happy. And then last but not least is Power Wash Simulator. Again, I feel like these two are kind of interchangeable. I think I kind of like the Christmas one more, but yeah. And there we have it, everybody. This is the tier list of the year. If people would like, I can put this into the Discord server, and you guys can make your own and share them and say what games you like the most or which playthroughs you like the most or whatever. Totally up to you. I don't expect everyone to do it. But yeah, it's that's it. That's the tier list done. I'm looking forward to streaming more stuff this year and playing more games this year. I cannot wait. It's gonna be a lot of fun. And here's to the start of 2025. And once again, I hope everybody had an amazing Christmas and an amazing New Year. So yeah, and thank you for coming back as well after everything. Yeah, I don't know. I just really enjoy doing it. I really enjoy streaming. So thank you for being here. But yeah, I'm just thinking. I'm gonna be honest, guys. My voice is going. I did have like a PowerPoint I wanted to do as well about things we're gonna do in 2025. I genuinely don't think my voice can cope doing any more today. So I think I'm gonna wrap up now. I hope that's okay with everybody. What I will do is I will start. We're doing the Mother 3 stream on Sunday. I will start very briefly by going over the changes I want to do for 2025 before we start streaming that. God, my voice really is going full ghoul mode, isn't it? I'm going full Fallout ghoul. Going bad. But yeah. But yeah, anyway, it's nothing really to worry about with the changes and stuff. It's a few things I feel like I should talk about. But yeah, it's been good. Thank you for streaming. No worries at all. Thank you for being here, Ray. No problemo. The tier list was fun. Hell yeah. Thank you, J Boogie. I appreciate it. But yeah, right, well, I'm gonna, like I said, I'm gonna peace out for today, but I'll be back on Sunday for Mother 3 and the continuation of, what I was talking about here today. Have a great evening, everybody. Have a great, start to your weekend tomorrow. I had to double check what day it was. And yeah, thank you for being here. Thank you, J Boogie. Thank you, Ray. Thank you, Ranger. Thank you, Justkill. Thank you, KY. Thank you, Florbury. Thank you, Jess. I'm gonna say your username. God damn it. Born to shit, forced to wipe. Thank you. And thank you anybody else that's popped by and lurked today or been around. I appreciate you being here. Yeah, I'll see you guys on Sunday. Have a great one. I'll see you then. Bye bye.